Welcome to Talk Life, episode number 24. And as you may see, today is a very special moment. Today we're going to take this conversation to another level. We're going to be in person, we're going to be intimate, we're going to be powerful, we're going to be connected, and it is my deep hope, as usual, that we're going to be inspirational. Today is a moment where I do not actually have a title for this conversation, and this leads me directly to my guest, Gonçalo Costa.
Well, that's a huge responsibility not have a title, but I can give you one.
No, I want this to develop.
Carrot title.
No, I mean, I'm sharing with you why. I really loved how we met each other. So Gonçalo and I, we met actually at speed networking. Yeah, and it was online. And I'm very attentive to the people joining these networking events. And there was a camera, and the camera was constantly moving up and down, and I never saw his face. I literally never saw his face.
Yeah, because I was in the car.
And I was like, this is my guy. This is the guy I need to connect. And I reached out immediately through LinkedIn, and to my surprise, I got a reply, which is not so common that we get prompt, kind, respectful replies. So I was like, cool. And we had a couple of days later, we met for a one-on-one, and I felt that this genuine connection was just straight away there. And that all said, I just want to thank you for now to be here, to take this moment to share your story as a human, as a man, as an entrepreneur in this format Talk Life today with us.
Okay, thank you for the invite, but I think you have really high expectations. I don't need that really high expectation, but okay.
Okay. Exactly. This was our conversation you shared with us when we met a couple of times. You said, I'm just a normal guy.
Yeah, and okay. I am.
So I'm going to put more expectations on you today. And I share this because I think for me, this is a form of leadership that is still very rare. But I want to see this more in our world. And I feel when I'm with you, you have a naturality in you. You have an authenticity within you that is very contagious. And
I hope you're positive.
Yes. And there's another thing that I found is a sense of grounded confidence. And this is for me another description of humility. But I think if we are living in this space, we're really open and vulnerable enough to connect with other humans on a level that is not so easy to grasp when we are constantly in our mind. And I invited you to this conversation in the context of Talk Life because I know to be in that state where you're in my perception, you don't need to accept that, one needs to have gone through some personal development, some deep ego-shattering personal development. And my work is all about the self-connection with oneself and transferring it into the greater world. I really believe that the connection with yourself defines what your business is like, what it transfers to the world, who your people are, how your relationships are, how your social interactions are. And I wanted to ask you, first question, what does this stand for you then, the normal guy?
Well, it's still really the normal guy, you know. I think sometimes, and that happens a lot, people that, you know, I usually say people, divide is not the right word, but I would say people usually perceive me from two groups, okay? There is the people that know me and there are my friends, and I say that not in a very positive sense, because usually people that know me have a really different perception on Gonçalo, okay? And not in the... Usually people see, for example, I'm always running, right? And people say, okay, he doesn't have his personal life, he doesn't have his own time. Well, it's a techie guy, it's a normal techie guy. And I'm really the opposite in many other things. But that comes with, it's not being, hidden from people. It's really... I prefer people to discover that, okay? And that comes from, I don't know, you might say humility. Okay, there is some people think I'm arrogant, for instance, okay? And that has to do, for instance, with my knowledge. But I share always my knowledge. And since I share it a lot and I speak in many other things, sometimes people think, okay, I can talk different stuff. It's quite strange, but yeah. So I would say yes, you have to feel connected to yourself. But well, for instance, where we are, right? It's us, right? Everything is us. We need to, and that's the difficult road to understand. Of course, when you are on, I don't like to say this stage because it seems pretentious. I don't go by it, but I really think when I look myself for the past, I'm very grateful for first the person I became. I will continue to become, because that feels that I've embraced some of my darkness. Okay, and I need to deal with them. And we have all our darknesses. Okay, darkness is it's a very broad, great concept, right? But for me, it could be, a sense of loss. For you, can be, the need to detach. We have a lot of this difficulty, humans, to detach, right? To say, to let it go when it is time. And well, that's your personal journey. And when I say I'm a normal guy, is because despite of everything I do, in the end I'm Gonçalo. For me, for instance, I'll give you one of my biggest lessons on that. My personal lesson was since I was born, there was kind of this mist of optimism. I know that this seems pretentious, but of course all parents are going to say, we love our kids, I want to have kids, but my parents really want to have kids, or else they wouldn't try it so much. With a level of danger that by that period of time, that was, even today, I think even my father and my mom were true warriors on that. And when I brought that, free time, when I born, and free time, I was, always this kind of the mist for the family that I would have, high expectations from everyone. And every time people look at me and think, okay, this guy knows where it goes, have huge expectations, he never misses. But I miss a lot. So, but in the end, I looked at as, at some point of my life, I saw that as a burden. And it was not. It was complete, sincere love. Because they knew what, I think they knew what I could achieve. And looking back, I said this 2 weeks ago, one of my kids, I said, yeah, your grandfather told me a lot that your grades, in this case my grades, were a consequences of you paying my studies. And in that period of time when I was, 18, whenever 18 years old, 19, and I never fought. I was always the first in the class, first in the school, even in university, and I see that as a normal thing, not a reward. But my dad told me that on that period of time because he was challenging me. The son he had. And in that period of time, with shocked, of course, it's your dad, you have all 18, so at that point, no, Dad, it's not like that, those kind of stuff. But now I look in the old past with the lens today, and I'm happy that I retorted to him like that because this was genuine, despite he didn't deserve it. But he was doing his best to, unleash my potential. And now he's not with us physically, but he's always in my heart. And I think that was sincere love. So yeah, that's why I say I'm a normal guy. I'm not afraid to cry, and I'm not afraid to speak what I feel. And yes, for some people it's kind of awkward, but it was since day one like this. So yeah. But so this kind of thing being normal, we are all normal. The definition of normal is like, what the heck is normal? It's just look inside of your darkness and try to unleash your potential. We have this insane potential.
Sure. So,
sorry.
You don't need to sorry. Please, August. First of all, thank you for sharing this vulnerable story, because now the way I perceive you falls completely into picture. I mean, every family has someone sent out to liberate the mother line and the father line, and you've taken on the high order in your own self-expression. And I'm very grateful that you mentioned the word darkness and gave us a couple of examples, because I think this is the purpose of this conversation. This is the purpose of doing the inner work, is exactly unleashing this insane potential on any level. And being true to yourself, and with sharing your voice, building connection, paving path for other people to engage with that development as well. And you touched a little bit this point, and I want to clarify a little bit before we go. I want to understand a little bit more about the darkness, because I feel this is something that we need to share from a reflective point of view. But I want to ask you, can you name your purpose confidently?
Well, the definition of purpose is sometimes very gray, right? I would say my purpose of life, if we're talking about it, is to make other people happy. That one. The second is, for that to happen, and that was one of the biggest lessons in my life, is, I'm going to say an expression. It's like Ahia Nikulahia. Okay, it's basically an old expression for the tribes that would say respect yourself and respect others. But in order to make people happy, you need to be happy and embrace your darkness. And I always made people happy, but sometimes I forget myself. Or since talking about purpose, or achieve the result, yes, I made it, really happy, and then, okay, next aim, no, don't do that, guys. You deserve to be happy with yourself and to celebrate those success. But really my aim of life at this point is, it was always like that, but unconsciously, to, left some seeds, I would say like that. Doesn't have about kids, doesn't have can be a lot of seeds in the sense, in the broad sense. For example, in lecturing, it's to have this sense that I gave the opportunity to others to shine, to develop themselves when they need it, or when I saw potential, because there is a lot of potential. You just need to see, because at some point of my life, others did the same with me, and we have this moral obligation. This what I would not say moral obligation in the convergence, in the sense of nailing you, but in the sense of broadening your inner self.
It's a responsibility, I find. To be honest.
In that sense, it's more obligation in the sense of responsibility, not on the sense of perspective what is wrong or not, but
I feel like this is sometimes mistaken. When we go into this inner world, it has been coming from the perspective of esoteric spirituality, misunderstood spirituality. And I find that this inner work is the essential piece for human evolution. And what anchors us in the world, in the world we live in, where we actually execute on what we have learned within ourselves, is responsibility.
Can I say something on that?
Sure.
When you say evolve, I would say, I think you are trying to say at the stage that we are as a society, because
of course,
I think we don't need to okay, I'm going to do, it's kind of strange. We need to evolve, but that evolution, it just reminds us what we were previously before we ignored spirituality.
Exactly.
It's not a question on evolve, it's a matter of remind because context, society is making, is making the right path. There is no right path. Never say you cannot do that. Okay. And I would say, I understand when you say evolution. For me, I would say revolution, because you need to remind the evolution that, because you forgot the past. It's like, imagine, it's like sometimes I heard people saying, we have this marvelous technology and etc. And yes, in fact, but okay, come on guys, we are not the only with knowledge. If we bear in mind and at least have a notion what is history, the library in Alexandria was massive. We don't know the amount of knowledge that was, if you look back, if you look to the Mayas, if you look to the other, our ancient selves, come on, how can we say we are, the last cookie off the package? Come on, guys.
That's ignorance.
And that's why I say we need to remind those values, because those society were deeply connected to this, to our nature, to themselves.
I feel like listening to your words, I feel like we are on the same page here, because in my in my observation, I feel that we are in a very vulnerable place on a societal level at the moment. We can question everything right now, where we have come from. Economy, society, culture. We can really take everything apart and look what we can do differently to really reunite as humans, but with life at large. So that is for me the sense of evolution.
I'll give you, things happen for a reason, or at least talk. I would say 15 minutes ago before we start, I was chit-chatting with Rui, with the guys filming us, and thank you, Rui, and pick it up what he said, socially, culturally, economics, we have only one dimension, right? Which can be seen in different levels. But, it's like when you ask someone, and I'm going to continue with this, and I'm not forgetting Rui because you're going to be interact, which sometimes people say, okay, we need to improve the economics. Okay, and I ask you for a definition. What is the definition of economy? And everybody say, well, this is the science that studies the... Come on. The basic definition of economy is the social science that studies people's behaviors to meet their demands. Just that.
Oh, okay? I would even say something completely different.
And economics is people. So why we neglect, for instance, like me and Rui were chit-chatting, if 50 years ago our grandfathers, our parents, that had so little materials in the material society, they don't need them, and they were more happy, and they changed things. Okay, I have eggs, you have potatoes. Economy is like that, is one-to-one, and this personal development depends on one-to-one. So if you have that afraid or express yourself of your fears, and that happens with me sometimes. I've been there. Sometimes it happens, or let it go. You'll never help you and the others. I'll give you an example, and I'm going to talk a lot about my parent, my father, but also my mother. They're very special to me. But I remember when my father discovered that he had the cancer for the third time, and like he told me, like, we came for a purpose, and sometimes, and I deal with this. I don't know. I cannot explain. It's something intrinsic, okay? Because my father had the first time he had cancer. I was 5. And it was in the lips, so it was one of the deadliest by the period of time. So I think we're talking about 85, around that. And I remember it was when we went through treatments. I always go with him, and my brother has 2 years ago, so he doesn't remember this that much. But I remember, and my father couldn't make to the corridor while we were attending for the consultation, because he had, was not feeling well, or he was, trying to show people that he was not sick. And I was only 5, but it was, I don't know, I cannot explain how I'll do it, why I do it, but, I was in a corridor, and when the voice on the system said my father's name, I would do the corridor alone, and I went to the car, pick his hand, and come with me. And I was 5. And when we found out he had cancer for the third time, when I was, I was 5. Let me do the counting. 5.5 years, around that. The first, after we discovered, and I had that feeling. We do the examinations. First no, then yes, and the Then we listened to three different doctors because I was with different options for the medicines, and I debated with them, which is kind of insane from a guy that is not a medical guy. But okay, but I read everything, so yeah. But it was unexplainable. But when returned to this was the first thing I saw. I said to the doctor then, after my father left the consultation, and he was very, very nervous, of course. The doctor said, I said, okay, I don't agree with you on this, and this. And she said, yeah, but it's statistics. Your father has 3 to 4 months of life. It's your average statistic. And I said, okay, that is status. That's stats. That means the average, but not the pattern, right? So we don't want to fit on that pattern. So my father will live, or at least will have 15 months of life quality, and he had. But at one point, the first months were difficult, very difficult, because it was. Now I look into it, and that's what happened.
He lived many years after that, right?
No, in this case. But okay, the first cancer, yes.
Yes.
The third was 5 years ago.
Exactly, yeah, that was our conversation.
And but since the first, it was. I remember that I was 21, I think, around 21, 22. No, 22. No, more. Sorry, I was 26 because I was already a father. And I went to visit my parents, and my mom came to me very slowly and said, "Don't go to the office." I said, "Okay, why?" I hidden a letter. I said, "Okay," because we received a letter from the health ministry of Portugal, acknowledging if my father was alive, because the cancer of the lips had, usually after you recover, most of 85% of people die in a 5 years period. So, and maximum 15. So we have to receive those letters. So my mom didn't want my father to see it and rip it off and said, okay. So, but in the third case it happened, but in the third my father was, and I grew a lot with him. I grew with him and he grew with me, but it was amazing to see in the end, it was calm, was confident again. But at some point, despite he has life quality, I understood this challenge, and he decided not to fight anymore. And I said, if that is what you want. Not in the beginning, because in the beginning I had this major talk with him, but the let it go is in that sense. So I grew a lot in that sense, on the darkness of let it go, because and that was connected in fact to the first person I lost in my life, which is my hero.
Which is nothing less than your father, yeah?
No, it was not my father first, but it was my grandfather, his father, when I was 5. But, it was, when I talk, and people usually say to me, but how you can speak so calmly on your father, the situation? Because I look into him, and
he lives with
you, yeah.
He continued his life through you, that's for sure. The connection we both shared is transcending.
Like I told you, that burden, right? Sometimes I think that happened because people say you look like your father or look like your grandfather, and
I found in my
for me my grandfather is like God, and I'm just a guy, and now I perceive that. People say that I would perceive that as a burden because I don't like that comparison, because my grandfather was for me my hero. He's my hero along with my father, and for me to be on their level, it's like
Yeah, but you can allow yourself to be liberated to that level. You have it. I mean, it's there. It's just
that's
you
why
probably release it gradually.
That's what I'm saying.
Or the acknowledgement of it
that was
when it comes.
That was one of my darkness. I couldn't allow myself to think that I could be
that.
Yeah. So.
And I would love to ask you, what have you learned? What are the huge integrations that you have made through this journey with your dad, through the darkness? One of them, I remember you, and I really want you to say that, is the intuition. You remember?
Yeah.
And you said it very powerfully.
That comes from... cannot explain. Okay.
But just before you go into this, I just want to mention one thing, because that is something. Letting go is going to be, or is the theme at this specific time we're in. I think practicing to let go is going to save our asses to do it. But what I really found is that letting go is love. Everything that you have just shared in the relationship with your lineage, with your father lineage, is for me the presence of love. And it is very powerful, and it can be intimidating to be thinking that we are actually able to be the recipients of that power, and at the same time the ones who bring it forth. So I think we all have our journey on this to acknowledge what we are here to transcend. But anyway, do you want to talk a bit more about transition, about maybe 2 things of what you have learned, and then maybe we check in and see how we feel?
Okay. I would say, the expression intuition is, again...
Yeah, we can define what intuition is.
Yeah, it's a very great concept again. For me, intuition is something, for you is another. I would say,
it's a bit fresh, no?
No, it's okay. Intuition for me, it's again comes one to how to understand yourself, because now I'm going to be very philosophical, because we can say, look, this in body, mind, if you are a dualist, you are a monolith, right? Or
no, we don't need to go that deep.
But no, I know. You know me enough. I'm joking, but a little bit. But intuition, in my case, again, it was a matter of liberating myself, or embrace my darkness, because I would say the best period of my life was, and this seems contradictory or strange, but it was the period that I embraced, and in that period of time I didn't think so. I embraced my darkness regarding intuition. For a certain period of my life, I neglected, what my body was to say to me.
Oh, okay. I mean, just take a moment of pause here, because I want everybody to hear this. What your body was telling, this is a body-based decision-making life, and that is the life of truth. Because
your body knows, and body for me, it's your mind, because it's your heart. No, it's your heart, okay? Because the heart commands the body. I'm gonna
be. You can say that.
I would say that because I'll explain why. Okay. Your heart doesn't lie to you.
No.
and the mind lies to you, because you have these, deep layers of perception. You have your perception in one moment, you have another perception in another. It's not wrong, it's what it is. But when I say the heart is what it makes your body, it's because he knows the truth. Your truth, what you need. And then your body feels it. And I say now this, and I'm very, 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 very grateful for that period of time, because it allowed me to evolve myself. And now today, you see I'm shaking, it's not about the cold, not nothing, no. It's really because when I'm nervous, when I really speak, when I'm telling, usually my body shakes a lot. It was like that, and so, intuition is like, for me, it's like when you do not ignore what your heart is feeling, okay? Because
exhale on that one, because that's very, very powerful.
And you always know the right way. He knows always the right way, and sometimes I make stupid decisions like, no, I want to do this option or this deal, and it went wrong. And before that, my body was telling me, not a good idea. And I said, no, I'm going that road.
So you're using the strategy in any area of your life for your business?
At the moment, yeah.
Yeah, powerful.
Yeah, I'm trying. Okay,
yeah,
it's not still perfect. I still need to evolve, but yeah. And for me, intuition is, it's like that. It's never stop doubting of your heart. Okay, it's the message. And that is very, very, very difficult, because our mind is always pushing us. Okay, because say, don't believe in that. Don't believe in your heart. You're going to have this problem. But it's the matter. Not in the mind is not doing bad for us. It's just doing what we teach to do it. So if we start making, the flow of the energy to that mind will be less bother for us.
Exactly.
Okay. I know that seems really philosophical.
No,
but
I think it is the work that we do in the personal development work is to fortify our hearts, is to expand our souls through the connection, self-connection, and then inspire the mind to operate on what we know is to be true for us in this moment. And I think our example is such a cool intuitive connection. I mean, just the way I saw you on the camera, I didn't see you and I was like, this is a guy I need to know. It's like, this is such a...
I don't know if that is a good presentation. But okay.
It was authentic and I loved it, and it was, I don't know, I didn't think about it either. I just felt it and I responded to that. And here we are, and this is amazing. That's fine.
No, thank you so much.
Okay, let me just, because how are you feeling?
I'm good.
I didn't know when we started. That is a very unraveling conversation. Boy, do you know when we started? How much time have we in? 40 minutes. Are you open to talk a little bit more? Yeah? So, let me see. Okay, it's nice because I really like what I want to bring to this conversation more. And you so courageously and vulnerably shared your story with your dad. I know from our conversations that you're a dad yourself, and you are the dad of twins, which is another story.
Yeah. 90-year-old twins. Yeah.
Yes.
Almost 19. Yeah.
Almost 19. So I believe they are released into their own lives, and you have...
Yeah, they have university.
they have their connections. And I want to ask you a couple of things. So, in their growing up period, you went through this, your own personal development. Have you shared with them where you're at? Have you integrated them in the process? And what do you bring to them? And I'm asking this on the background because I'm a mother of a 9-year-old boy, and I have decided that I'm never ever going to be a mystery for my child. We're going to build a very strong bond of sharing what is true for me, what is true for him, and building through that a connection. And I wanted to ask you how you have developed this for yourself, your fatherhood.
Well,
and I also asked this, Gonçalo, because men are also on their own development process, and fatherhood is into question right now, what it means to be a father, so I think it is helpful instead of being an example to even building more intimate relationship with our kids. And I don't
know if I'm a good example, but okay.
That's what you're saying all the time, Gonçalo. I don't know if, I don't know why. Let's be in a room like this. You don't need to accept it. Just share your story, and I will be really, really grateful.
Oh. Okay, I love to be a dad. I was with the friends. I don't know. Today's Tuesday. Yeah, on Sunday we were friends. With friends talking, journey for a walk in a and they have now 2 kids. One with 6, 7.
Oh,
and
you're
the other,
Dad.
Yeah, and the other with almost 2, 1.5, and the 1.5 fell asleep on my lap. Okay, and I love kids. Yeah, it's kind of difficult. It's a process. But I don't know. Since day one, I told them, and I share with them what I feel. Okay. And
so you share opening your emotions with them?
Yeah, I cried. I cried in front of them. I laughed in front of them. When I cry, of course, I will explain to them why. Because being a father or a mother, this parenthood situation is it's a great deal of responsibility. So you're never ready to be a father. Okay.
We're not ready for life, no?
We're for life. So it's a basic of learning and continue to learning. But in a sense, I cried in front of them. I screamed with them. Sometimes I did what every person does.
So as raw, real human.
Yeah, I told them. I sometimes. Okay, they're fantastic, but. Sometimes I told them life not easy. It's like you need to respect what people invested in you. You need to respect the others, and that kind of speech that they make me myself. And I told them I cried in front of them. Sometimes I roll over for them. We have this beach near our house, about 15 kilometers. Which is São Martin. It has this massive hill, so in sand, and so we jumped downhill, running and splashing in the end, and that I did also. Usually my nephews, when they play with me, they tell me I'm insane because I do everything they do. So I became a major kid.
I love it.
But I would say, don't feel afraid to show what you feel. It's like, I know sometimes it makes us seem it's impossible. My father is a superhuman. It's like Yeah, but if you show your feelings, you are more than superhuman. You are a hero, okay? Because we all have our difficulties. I spoke with them since day one from from everything that you may think. Okay, they are girls, so this like situation, when the period comes, or since 8 years I spoke with them, explaining everything. No worries on that, like there is no taboos on that. It's like put the cards on the table, do your best.
Yeah, and I love like if you show your feelings, you're superhuman. I'm gonna quote that. But what was important for me is I found like the more truthful we are with ourselves in our family, our close immediate family, in this case my son and I, that if we allow to feel, if we share how we feel and develop this indestructible stability, then there is a faith developing and a deep self-trust that cannot be taken away anymore. And if I can install that in my son, I would be very, very grateful to inspire to such a self-confidence that can pave, passages from a true place. Yeah. Okay, so.
Yeah, I told you, I'm just a normal guy.
Yeah, you are.
Nothing good to say.
Let us in the audience to choose what they feel.
Okay.
Maybe.
No judgment.
No judgment. Okay, 2 more questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fire away.
So let's take it a bit on a broader perspective. Where do you see our human potential in the world now, and where we're moving forward to?
Okay, I would say, and since you brought the situation, and we kind of slip over and explain what is economics, right? For example, that part. We have a wrong society model. We forgot the basics. And I'm gonna now be extremely, like, I would know some people are gonna shout it out and say that's impossible, whatever. But for instance, if we remind John Nash's work about cooperation, right? The game theory. Game theory was developed for, in today's highly used, explored for market competition, etc. Financial markets, speculation, whatever. But in this broader sense, when Nash made the theory, it was about to show that cooperation always provides better outcomes than competition. And we seem to neglect that cooperation is everything. Okay, and that on entrepreneur level or business level, for instance, when you say, okay, my competitors, I would say 90% of the time, 90 is an exaggeration, but at least 80%, Pareto speaking, your competitors are your best clients or your best cooperators. So, the definition of competition is completely reverse the thinking model that we need. Our potential is, as people, we can do better. And for instance, I cannot understand, after during COVID, It was okay. COVID had less positive issues, but had a lot of positive issues. And one was to show us that we can strive thinking differently. And what the heck, for instance, now that COVID passed, according to the OMS, and for instance, we are returning to the same place that we were. For instance, go every day by a car to an office, or companies are making people go there again and demand them. So, okay, we saw that in COVID. Okay, we need a blended model, of course. But come on, guys, we saw how much nature and our environment was better during that period of time. How much life quality we had, because what is seen around us? It's us. And so we can do much better. And I think our potential now, it's reinforcing that reminder of the revolution that we talked about, of going back to the basics, because it's completely awkward. I was speaking with someone, not yesterday, but a few days ago, and they are demanding me to go to the office, but I like to go home working. I can be with my kids, and now they are demanding that I come. And what the heck? We are misleading the opportunity that we have. Okay, and I think the greater potential is to learn from the past, learn to look inside, and for instance, the political moment that we live broadly. Come on, people. We've been there 50 years ago, right? Checks? No, we don't need that. Okay?
Yeah, but it gets always more messy before we clean up.
I know, you need to flush and then go, but come on, no, we need to be focused on ourselves, and I think that is, the greatest learning that we have is with nature, because she knows always what to give us, So yeah.
May I speak to this a little bit?
Of course.
Taking your share into account and my own observations and my own personal process, I would argue that what is really at bay right now, what we should consider is really the integrity of what we have gone through healing and through a very insightful reflection of what has happened individually and collectively. And everybody can start with themselves. Anything that is not feeling okay, and I think that is really the direction where our potential lies, is another form of integrity, is integrating, and that's why I would have wanted you to be here with me. You've shared that there's more to us in our mind. There's the integrity of our heart, there's the integrity of our soul, and it brings us back to a deeper integrity with life at large. And that is, I think, is something that you would have formulated in a way of it brings us back to the simple things, to the roots of where we're coming from. And it starts with everyone's self. And I really hope that we can develop individually as super strong, sovereign beings, and respecting our authorities within, and through the self-respect, really learning to respect other people. And I don't mean just the ones we see every single day, the one that looks quite similar than us, but I mean any kind of human being that exists on this planet has a right to be here. And if we can bring this through compassion into the form of practice relationship, and that brings me to the point when you said everything is relationship, corporations, collaborations. This is where we can actually start to make a difference on a bigger scale. And that is where I see the potential. And if it's not here, it will be nowhere. That is what I believe.
Well, I tend to agree with that.
Okay, last moment. Otherwise, I have to share my.
No, I'm okay. Honestly, I'm shaking just because it's my body never stays.
But I feel
whole.
it. I feel it. Okay, if you have. Actually, I don't want to do this anymore because yesterday I was working on a time pressure and I don't think it's a cool thing. But anyway, let's say you have an opportunity to empower others. What would be your words?
Ooh, that's a big.
That's a big, yeah. But take it easy. You're just a normal guy.
Just be normal guys and girls. Just be normal guys and girls because you have there all your tools inside of you. And your best friend, your wife, your father can say you're not on the right path. But if you feel that it is, because they love you, they will respect you. If you show them if really that you want. And I think the best advice is you have your tools inside of you. So I know it's massive guys, to look inside of it, because to look in our darkness, it's okay. I know. Okay, despite of what I said, I continue to embrace them because I need to continue to do that every day, and that is a continuous process. It doesn't mean I'm the best.
It's not about achievement.
No, it's not about achievement, guys. But look inside you, inside your tools. Listen to your heart, and you'll be fine. I'm sure.
Yeah, and what we cannot forget, and that's the beauty of integrating our darker side, is that there is the other end of the spectrum. So if the dark is there, the light is there. And that brings us to the wholeness of humanness, and this is what I'm really devoted to be human after all.
The bigger the darkness, bigger the light.
Yeah. So, thank you so much for sharing your in-depth
I didn't say anything.
experiences and your wisdom with us. I'm really,
I would
grateful.
say difficult wisdom, but okay. I'm serious down on that.
You're talking yourself down. Anyway, if you have any questions for Gonçalo, you leave us a comment below and we're going to hop on it, right?
Like if you say so, yes.
I say so. I'm the boss.
Yeah, you're the boss, of course. Sorry.
Who said I'm the boss?
See, he needs to listen his heart. Also, because he has a project in the draw for many years. But right, Rui? So it's going to be out.
Through my heart, and he knew what kind of woman is standing in front of him. That's another expression of humility.
Yeah. But thank you.
But
so
I
much.
really also, I just want to share with you, my voice is shaking sometimes so much, speaking the truth, and I just shared the story, and I think it's so powerful is to speak the truth of your voice, even when it's shaking. And I think I would even change into, especially when it's shaking, you gotta speak it. So thank you.
No, come on. Thank you so much for the
Yeah,
invite.
thank
I don't
you.
know. I don't know if it was a good conversation or not.
That's not
I'll
our
let
decision.
I'll let the people say that. Okay, but thank you so much. Thank you for three things. First, the attention that you had to the details, because some of the things that you brought was, minor details that we, through our conversation since we met, so and that elephant memory that I usually say people need to have, and it's it's simple to do other people happy, because it's just to listen the minor details, and thank you for that, because you listen to those details. Thank you for the person you are, and you had this respectful way of approaching the talk, and so thank you for that. I hope I achieved what you needed for this.
Yeah, thank
because
you
it was high expectations, and I'm not that good with high expectations. Sorry.
But anyway, thank you for reflecting back with it to me what you're seeing. I really appreciate it, and I have learned as much in this brief period of time with you as well. And this is maybe a really beautiful closure, because I can feel that what you say and what you do comes from a place of your heart. I have learned through this short period of time, or it got very much fast evolved, is to receive. And I find this phenomenal because especially in the world of man and woman, it is not common yet that a man can bring so much vulnerability and sensitivity into conversations. And what you share is I can prove that. Develop your own potential. Just leave it, please. Leave it for the audience. And it's so beautiful because this receiving part, this receivership, is so important for me to tune in. It's something that we actually don't need to develop. It's something that we really kind of just tap into and go deeper and go deeper. And it fascinates me, and I'm very, very grateful for that. So thank you for being here. And let's see what the future has.
That's it, folks. And then now it comes Warner Brothers.
You will hear from us more, right? We have some really nice things in store. So thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you take something away. Leave it a comment with what, and I'll see you around. Take care.
Take care, guys.
Oh my God, this is very uncomfortable.